What is going on, guys? Welcome back to CpyNews, and let's get into today's first story, shall we? And our first story comes from Eurogamer, and it's about Projekt Red. Oh, and they've finally done it. They finally drove their staff to unionizing, and this is bad. And the title says it all, really. Projekt Red devs unionize after its third round of layoffs in 3 months. And yeah, you heard that correctly. Its third round of layoffs in 3 months. So staff at Projekt Red are uniting with it's in the Polish video game industry to unionize. The union was formed after Projekt Red announced a third wave of job cuts in as many months. And just let that sink in. 3 waves of layoffs within 3 months. Literally, that's like 1 a month, where basically people are being told they're losing their jobs. So they want to unionize as a means of improving their workplace industry standards in a way that has legal power and amplifies their voices. And the staff at Projekt Red say that they started talking about unionization after the 2023 wave of layoffs, when 9% of the Reds, that is roughly 100 people, were let go. This event created a tremendous amount of stress and insecurity, affecting our mental health and leading to the creation of this union. In response, having a union means having more security, transparency, better protection, and a stronger voice in terms of crisis. The above shows how employees tend to view their interests to be in conflict with those of their employees. The statement continues. While employees are the ones creating value in this arrangement, they lack any decision power in company structure related matters. That is why we need to organise to enter those situations on equal footing. We believe that the mass layoffs are a danger to the game dev industry, and we believe that unionising is a way for us to preserve the industry's potential, it concludes. And apparently the games union is going to be part of a wider nationwide union, the OZZIP, and welcomes members from across, the Polish game dev industry to join its support network. And I'm not surprised, and this is bad for Projekt Red. Like, it's really, really bad for them. Like, I don't know why CDPR... morale at that company's been bad for a while now, right? But literally firing so many staff back to back to back in the course of 3 months. No wonder the employees are looking at alternative means of protecting themselves, right? Because what else could you do in this situation? I just feel bad for them. Hopefully this leads to a better work arrangement and pay deal and scale, and makes layoffs like this harder, so the company can't just keep willy-nilly, laying people off every month nearly. Let me know what you think about this one down below. Are you shocked that there's been 3 rounds of layoffs in 3 months? Because that's staggering, that is. 1 round of layoffs makes sense. 3 rounds in 3 months? That's a company that's not doing well. Our second story comes from Try Hard Guides. It's about Telltale. Telltale Games is once again laying off staff, similar to last time, which isn't good. They're laying off staff. Many Telltale staff members have been terminated, some sources claiming it was a majority, but that does not seem true. Production on every planned game has continued, so few people are working on games that haven't gotten moved forward. This only means that a crunch is coming for any remaining members of staff. So this is bad. So the company sent a statement to Jeff Knightley, which says, due to current market conditions, we regretfully had to let some of our Telltale team go recently. We did not take this action lightly, I should hope not, and our commitment to storytelling and finding new ways to do so remains the same. We are grateful to everyone for their dedication along this journey, and we are working to support everyone impacted. All projects currently in development are still in production, and we have no further updates at this time. So according to that, they're still working on all the games and everything that's in development, including The Wolf Among Us 2. But this doesn't look good for Telltale. And they've only started releasing a brand new game, which was The Expanse, and only one of the episodes is out so far, and they're already laying staff off. Bear in mind, this is a company that, had to shut down, and then came back again, and it's not good. don't know what's going on there. We have no numbers on the amount of staff either, really, yet. So, more layoffs. Sucks. I do feel bad for them because I guess for many people working there, like maybe some of the ones that were laid off, with the Expanse coming out and everything, they thought maybe this is, our chance. Things will go well. Everything will be fine. And then they get hit with a layoff afterwards, after the launch of the first game. The first new series since reopening the doors. Oh, that sucks. Let me know what you guys think down below. Our next story is about Epic Games. And Epic Games are to update their Unreal Engine pricing for devs outside the game industry. I did say that correctly. Devs outside the game industry. So this will not affect games developers at all. And it actually kind of makes sense for Epic to do this because of how other stuff works with software and everything in other industry areas. So a week after laying off almost 900 employees, Epic Games has announced that it's increasing the price to use Unreal Engine, just not for the game development community. So it will not affect the game devs at all. That will still be 5% for over $1 million dollars earned, and that'll be it, right? So new came from Tim Sweeney, the CEO. Sweeney explains that developers using Unreal Engine in the film, TV, automotive, and other industries can expect to start paying a per-seat licensing fee. He claimed that the pricing model will not be unusually expensive or unusually inexpensive, and that its pricing structure will be similar to subscription services like Maya or Photoshop. Sweeney said he wanted to announce these changes now in the name of transparency. Good on him for announcing it in the name of transparency now so everyone knows. He also shed some light on the business decisions that led to the company making unexpectedly significant business shifts in the last week. So apparently Epic's had these financial problems for about 10 weeks now and was heavily funded by Fortnite. I think we all knew that though, that was Fortnite was propping up Epic Games. Apparently that's caused a lot of issues, and because of that, they've had to make some changes, and one of them is going to be obviously the way in which Unreal Engine is monetized outside of the games community. And as to any developers worried about the state of the Epic Games Store, Tim Sweeney says that the Epic Games Store is the cure to the disease supposedly infecting the video games industry, and that they're going to keep working on the storefront. The storefront's not going anywhere. The storefront isn't the problem. If anything, it's actually the opposite. The storefront will actually help bring in more revenue. And I don't agree with Tim Sweeney on a lot of things. Like, I have no stake in Epic, right? So I don't particularly have any feelings towards the company either way. They make Fortnite, people enjoy it, so what? And cool, I got some free games off Epic that I've played and enjoyed, and some free-to-play games I play on there as well. I don't really buy anything through the platform. That's just a me thing. But when he says, like, the video games industry right now has a problem, I don't think he's wrong. There is a problem in the way it's monetized and going around and stuff. And I honestly generally feel the biggest problem is that the way the games industry has ran for a long time is to create future games, you rely upon past revenue, right? So the success of a games company is based upon the sales of its last game and how well it did and how much profit they made off that game and how much of that profit can go towards the future projects, right? And that's just not sustainable. And you see it with layoffs after layoffs and studio closures and everything, and companies getting overextended, or other business related things where clients don't pay on time, or someone doesn't get paid, or there's a contractual dispute, right? And things like that can make or break a company. They could go off from having a very successful game to going on to a long-term project, end up 2.5 years down the line, something comes out of nowhere, and all of a sudden that studio is laying off staff to try and just in order to complete the game. Is every publisher creating their own store the solution? I don't know. I don't think that would be sustainable either, right? To have 1 million different stores, and it would just be confusing from a consumer perspective to have all these stores and apps and logins and stuff, and nobody wants their credit card information on that many different platforms, right? It's already bad enough with everything without adding to the chaos. But I do think he's right when he does say that there has to be different choices. There has to be a different way of doing things. And obviously that's going to be for each company to figure out themselves what is the best solution, what is the best way moving forwards, because purely relying on the past game's success, franchise's success to fund the next venture it isn't a guarantee. You can run out of money. You can be hit with unexpected costs. There could be delays in development and you might no longer have the budget to complete the game, right? And there isn't a venture capitalist firm. There isn't investors to bail out all these companies all of the time, right? And in reality, an investor's only going to put money into the pot if they feel that they can get a return on that, and equally that will eat into the company's profit margin as well. So there's still going to be hurt going forwards because now there's somebody else who is got some stake in that game, right? It might be percentage of this particular release that's coming out, or it might be a shareholder, a share interest in the company, right? And all those things also affect the future of the games that they can make. You know, we've done it a certain way for so long. I think it's not wrong for people to explore doing things a better way. If they can figure out a better way for the company. And no, I'm not talking live services or microtransactions and stuff. I don't think those are long-term sustainable either. Or subscription services. Like, for a big scale company, that stuff can make sense to an extent, but for the entire industry, it just won't work. People can't afford to be subscribed to 50 different games, right? You know, not everyone has the money to spend $8.99 a month on every single game they play. There is some value in consumers paying $50 and being done, right? The limit's 50. I'm going to pay 50 for this game. I only have to pay 50 for this game, and then I'm going to play this game. But let me know what you guys think down below. What do you think like these companies are going to have to do going forward in terms of monetization to keep themselves afloat? Because clearly relying on past revenue for future games, it's just not sustainable, and we're seeing the cracks now. Like, this year has been a really, really bad year for layoffs in the gaming sector. I've seen more announcements of layoffs in the last few weeks and months to a staggering extent. So what would you propose these companies do? Our next story comes from Routers. An exclusive ChatGPT owner, OpenAI, is exploring making its own AI chips. Now, there isn't really much to be said on this one, except that OpenAI is exploring the idea of making their own AI chips. And most of it comes down to the fact that acquiring AI chips is very, very difficult. Most of the market is controlled by Nvidia, and then the other places that you can get them from is probably AMD has some AI accelerators, but heavily most of the computational stuff is done with Nvidia hardware, user CUDA and stuff, you know, for Whisper AI, for ChatGPT, can't remember what the other one is, begins with D, I think, and it's the image generation one, but the company is looking at their own in-house solutions of making their own chips or requisitioning chips from a supplier and getting them manufactured for them. And this is not an unreasonable solution and makes sense in many, many ways to manufacture your own hardware. And this could be interesting, both for OpenAI and consumers themselves. Because manufacturing your own hardware, you can build what you need for the scale of your operation, and it will do exactly what you want it to do because it will be built to your specifications, right? So this might mean more efficient processing for the workloads that it does, as OpenAI understand how their AI algorithms work better than outside people can, and therefore can optimize their hardware more efficiently if they manufacture their own chips. Equally, what this means from a consumer's perspective is this isn't confirmed, but there is obviously the possibility that if OpenAI does this and starts making their own manufacturing stuff for these chips, then they might start making their own devices. Now, what this could mean is that consumers wouldn't need to spend lots and lots of money on the highest end RTX card or AMD equivalent in order to get the AI performance that they want for these computational tasks, and instead could buy some sort of hardware device from OpenAI that is more cost efficient, as well as more efficient and optimized at processing the workloads that people want processed. And this would be interesting for content creators because not so much the image generation stuff, but OpenAI's Whisper AI and ChatGPT has potential use cases that are or can be beneficial in the workflow of doing stuff. For example, Whisper AI is a subtitle generator. So what this means is that people can generate subtitles in real time, and the more efficiently and more fastly you can do that, and more accurately you can do that with larger sample models, means that you could generate more flawless captions in a shorter space of time, which means that you as a creator have to spend less time focusing on that aspect of your work. You would only have to do maybe a pass-through reading it to make sure that the text matches up with what was said, and that there's no glaring grammatical errors. And for the most part, Whisper AI does that pretty well. But the larger the model you can use, the more accurate it is. But the larger the model you use, the longer time it takes. So them generating their own hardware could be exceptionally beneficial for the end user. Well, in many terms, it certainly will be more beneficial for the end user. Because even if you use their own services, you would still be the end user, and them making their own hardware more efficient and having the scalability to provide better performance and accuracy overall just improves the entire situation. But let me know what you guys think about this one down below, about OpenAI generating their own hardware, manufacturing it, and actually taking their production into their own hands instead of relying on third-party providers like Nvidia for, you know, the computational tasks, right? And I know this is going to be controversial because there's some people who are adamantly against AI, but I personally use AI for when I generate subtitle captions, when I add them to videos, which is when you see the red text on my videos. I do them using Whisper AI. They're usually quite accurate, and it doesn't take me that long. It's a lot quicker than writing them myself, I can tell you that, because that would take hours, and it's certainly more cost effective than using online services. If anyone's ever looked at using online services for caption generation, that is not cheap. It's actually kind of a joke how stupidly expensive that is, and there's limits as well. You can only generate so much a month, which is absurd. But let me know what you think down below. And our final story of the day comes from Bethesda.net themselves, which is a whole slew of game updates for Redfall. And we're just gonna hop into it and get through the most important ones. They have added performance mode on Xbox Series XS. They have improved PC performance and stability across a wide range of hardware configurations, addressed several edge case memory crashes, addressed graphical corruption issue when the change in resolution with AMD GPUs, wow that's a bad one, fixed an issue with resetting game settings to their values while in window display on the second monitor. The anti-aliasing setting is now hidden in video settings, while AMD FSR 2.1 upscaling is enabled. Performance improvements, improved the user interface, weapons with silencers and silenced muzzle attachments now reflect their silent state in tooltips. Really, it wouldn't actually tell you in the tooltips whether you had equipped a silencer? Well, I'm glad they fixed that one. What the hell? Vault and mantle indicators now display in the HUD. The mission briefing table now better delineates between main missions and optional missions. Functional improvements to compass markers. Historical markers now display on the map in their locked state once players complete the introductory missions. Improves the readability of ammo purchasing. Adding an off-screen indicator when Bribben is downed. Never played this, so I don't know what Bribben is or who. Fixed an issue when objective search areas were blocking fast travel actions. Text-to-speech hotkey now displays all the time when active. Player reporting now shows the loading indicator when submitting. Clarified the achievement description for Rum Runner. Many accessibility changes, including improvements to the screen narration. Support when the text entry field is open. Support within the username input field for the Add Crossplay Friends submenu. Fix an issue where players will be prompted to press enter when focused on the username input field in the Add Bethesda.net Friends submenu. Support for navigational control and hero select and system select menus. Narrates game invite and friend request notifications. That's a good one. I actually wish more games did that one. Narrate the game invites and friend request notifications. That's actually a nice feature. I've never known another game actually do that. When selecting a locked difficulty, the screen describes the difficulty type as locked. When selecting an unlocked difficulty, the screen narrator will describe the difficulty selected. Good changes. And it fixed a lot of improvements with aim assist, dead zone tuning, more options for players to customize these settings for both controller and keyboard and mouse. For fast-paced multiplayer FPS fans, check out medium, high or linear input response presets. For slower single-player FPS fans, check out default, low, medium or input response presets. At the low response curves tend to feel like you have a little more precision over your aim, decreasing your control sensitivity from the input responses. Presets default value will directly increase/decrease your overall left-right turn speed. For players who turn up their controller sensitivity, consider trying out default strong, very strong aim assist strength and ADS snap strength if you would like that assistance. Or you can turn it off. For players who turn down their controller sensitivity, try very, very weak default aim assistant strength and ADS snap strength prevents presets to prevent it from feeling like you are fighting for control of your aim. And then there's various other fixtures now. They've added stealth gameplay. Players can now sneak up and take down unaware cultists and bellwether enemies with staked weapons. Increased open world enemy population and mission and counterbalancing. As unique open world enemy encounters in Redfall Commons. Add elements of light or reflective clothing to vampire and human NPCs to aid invisibility during the night. Increased ammo pickups in areas surrounding the fire station to help new players maintain early game resources. Enemies now repositioned to avoid friendly fire. What? Before they stood in front of each other letting themselves get killed by their own people? Bourbon is now guaranteed to shock nearby enemies while using Siren with the Robot Rock skill activated. Remu will now be alerted when and where Bourbon is down. Several scenarios where enemies will become stuck in an idle state and stop engaging with the player has been fixed. Sights and silence and battles have now been updated to improve reticle visibility. Sights using a green emissive have been tuned so they aren't as bright at night. And there's some multiplayer improvements as well. Added visual distinct player indicators and markers for multiplayer sessions. A unique court ping colour for each player in squad. Improved player ping visibility. The Lights Out achievement will now be awarded in multiplayer only if the Lost in Fog mission is active. So I mean that is a lot of change and a lot of stuff going on there. So if you do play Redfall, there is a good deal of changes there. I don't know whether they appeal to you or whether the game appeals to you or not. But they are at least working on it, and some of the accessibility stuff actually seems pretty interesting and cool, and something that I kind of actually wish was added maybe to other games. Some of those text prompts reading out would be nice for people, because I don't know of other games where, like, if a friend comes into your game, where it announces it, and says, like, oh, blah, 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 has joined, right? You normally get the text thing, but for those who have visual impairments, right, or maybe have dyslexia, problems reading, that kind of thing, or maybe if something isn't your first language, hearing might be better than reading for you. So I can see how that could be beneficial to many different people. That's cool. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think about those changes to Redfall down below. And as always, thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys, and take care.